Welcome to our 16th episode of Black Dance Stories. Here's a note about why we are here. Our dance world was pummeled by COVID-19, and Black dance artists are finding ways to talk about life during this time. Our world was further turned upside down after horrible events ensued nationally and globally, bringing attention yet again to the need for the Black Lives Matter movement. Black dance artists have not been quiet since. Black dance artists have been doing the work. Black dance artists continue to make work. To stay involved, we hold these weekly impromptu discussions and tell stories. Black dance stories. This is one action, and we promise to stay involved. We are a community working together to support, uphold, highlight, and celebrate Black creatives. Tonight is our 16th episode of what we hope will be many stories told in the artist's own voices. Thank you so much for making time to witness. Please help to spread the word about our special time together. Tonight, it's Olivier Taparga and Jasmine Hearn's turn. Yay! Please meet part of our BDS team, and I will go first. I am Charmaine Warren. I am a Jamaican. I am the great granddaughter of Ida Boyd, granddaughter of Solomon Goldson and Ruby Chapman, and one of 9 children by Theophilus Warren and my 94-year-old mother, Pearline Warren, who lives in Jamaica. I am a non-disabled Black woman. With the utmost respect to the Native people, I acknowledge that I live on the stolen land of the indigenous Lenape people, now known as Montclair, New Jersey, with my husband, photographer and graphic artist, Tony Turner. Our daughter, Ashe Turner, a Black ballerina with locks, is going into her junior year at Boston Conservatory. I have locks that are pulled up on top of my head. I'm wearing a white blouse and large, colorful earrings. Behind me are photos of our family, a large plant, a lamp, and African masks. My heart is more and more full every week when we gather in this special community space. So thank you for that. It is humbling when I see the names in the chat. Equally humbling is that these fabulous notables, friends, good people from our dance community say yes when we ask them to join us. I turn it over to Kimani now.
Thank you, Charmaine. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for episode number 16. Let's keep it going. The importance of acknowledging our familial and dance legacies is an essential tradition. With deep respect and honor, I want to acknowledge the Lenape people whose stolen land I am zooming from, currently known as the village of Harlem. I am a Black, non-disabled woman, and I live with my 9-year-old son. I am sitting in my dining room. I have a golden low-cut haircut with a white top, a la Notice Us in White, everybody, with big silver hoop earrings. I am the granddaughter of Lucille Madison. I teach because of her, daughter of Ronald Augustus Fowlin, Jamaican warrior, and Anne Fowlin, Renaissance woman. I dance because of them. My son Tamayo keeps me present with the fascination of a blossoming young visual artist. And with that young thought in mind, I'm turning it over to the beautiful Nick.
Thank you, Kimani.
Oh,
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicholas Xavier Hall. I'm Haitian American. I identify as a Black, non-disabled man. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am the grandson of Gertha Farr and Jean-Claude Hall. I'm also the grandson of Jacques Arnold Nicholas and Marie Violette Alexandre. I was born in Brooklyn to Sheila and Curtins Hall. My family, including my sisters Isabella and Victoria, now live in Montclair, which is on the stolen land of the indigenous Lenape people. I'm also a recent graduate of the Fordham Ailey BFA program. I dance because it reminds me to keep dreaming.
Woo!
I'm in a white room wearing a white button down. Behind me is a mirror, a TV, and a black figure Matisse painting. With that, I'm going to pass things back to Kimani.
Okay, y'all, this is urgent. This is crisis time. This is like, we need to vote. 18 days left. That's like in 2 weeks almost. And it is urgent that we vote, please. Also, I don't know if everyone knows, but the census is due today. So please, whatever you do, we need to be counted. Please send it in. I want to also take a moment to acknowledge our family behind the scenes, the BDS family, to make this happen every week. We have Cynthia Tate, our publicist, Gabe Decoladenu, web designer, Caitlin Chandler, video tech expert, a new person, Renee Redding Jones, director of development, and of course, Tony Turner, the awesome graphic designer, and amazing ASL interpreters that are here with us every week. So thank you. Please consider donating to us so that we can keep this magic going for as long as possible. We can't do that without your generosity. So please consider donating to us and these wonderful artists that we have on each week. And with that, I turn it back to Nick.
Thank you. So just a few things. A big part of Black Dance Stories is our community. So we want to see who's watching tonight. So please drop your name in the chat, say hi to your neighbor, leave a little cute message, anything you'd like. Be sure to like our video, follow our YouTube channel, subscribe, I should say. Follow our Instagram, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
It's not Black Dance Stories, it's BLK Dance Stories. We'd very much appreciate it. We're trying to grow that platform. And with that, if you would like, grab a glass of wine, grab a glass of water, a cocktail, whatever makes you happy, but let's cheers to Black Dance Stories.
Cheers.
Cheers with you, everybody. Thanks for being here. Cheers. All right. So Kimani and Nick, they're going to say bye-bye for just a little bit. They're here. They're here with us, thank goodness. They're going to say goodbye for a little bit. And Olivier gets to come in and say hello.
Hey!
Hey!
Ah!
Bonsoir, Olivier!
Ça va bien?
Yeah, cheers!
Oh yeah, of course.
Cheers, welcome, bienvenue!
Ben, merci bien.
So, Olivier, introduce yourself and get to talking. I'm here for you.
Okay.
We're here for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, my name is Olivier Pawayimdi Frank Taparga. I am the son of Abdoulaye Richard Taparga, also known as Radio in a city in Burkina Faso, because in the 50s he was fighting for a city to have a radio station, because he went to Europe and came back and no one, in the city knew, about radio stations beside the capital of Ouagadougou. And then I'm also the son of Valentine Jeanne Tarpaga Kam. She's from a different ethnic group in Burkina Faso, the Jan people. And my father doesn't speak her language, but she speaks my father's language. So he hates the fact that we all speak his language and my mother's language, and he doesn't understand what we're talking about. So we can, go sit behind him. I live here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm sitting on a land of Lenape-Hocking, occupied land. And I am married to Esther Marion Baker, now Tarpaga. And she is a multidisciplinary artist and a choreographer here in Philly and around the country and around the world. And we both share Baker and Tarpaga Dance Project. We co-founded it in 2004, so that's a while ago. And our daughter, Windiga N. Solange Tarpaga, she's 12. She's very tall. I'm 5'9", and she's almost my height, and she's 12. So that doesn't make sense, but we see where this is gonna go. She's very nice. She's smart, and she loves gymnastics. She's a good dancer. I don't know where she got it from, And she's just a wonderful young girl, excited, and she's I'm a proud father of a straight A young lady. So that's it. And I was born in Kaya. It's a small town in the north of Burkina Faso, and my family has a house in the town in a section of the town called Zekzugu. The thing is, why am I saying that? Because there's a lot of symbolism around me, whether it's my name and many things, right? Zekzugu mean hold your head up. Okay, Zek Zugu, head, which is going to be the title of my next piece. So Zekzugu is where I went to first grade and second grade before moving back to the capital. And then Zekzugu is also where my father is buried now. Zekzugu right now is under siege by jihadists, because in Burkina Faso, jihad moved down from Mali, crossed the borders, and then went all the way down there. So which means I'm in a place where when I want to go to Kaya in that city, the American embassy tells me not to go there, which means I was born in Burkina, even though I'm sharing both citizenship. The American embassy would tell me, if you go there, we cannot protect you. So you get to that funky situation where it's not about where you were born and who you are. It's about don't go there and we can't do anything, or you're on your own. So there's a lot of symbolism with that name. And the region where you find Kaya and my site Zekzugu is called San Matenga. And San Matenga means the land of gold. So you see already why. And so there used to be gold, and it's now that we started to understand how much gold is in Burkina, and that's why we're also getting all the terrorists and all these things, because we didn't know about that, and now we have all of this happening. So all the symbolism around the name and around my life. So I don't know if you had a question, but
No.
okay,
No.
good. Okay, I know we're talking about. I'm wearing this this red sweater that I like. It's one of my signature. I got it from a small, nice shop in Kuala Lumpur, from an Indian shop. Very nice guy. Sometimes it's like through his energy towards me makes me do things with him. So I love this energy towards me, and I went there and I saw this and I took it. And I'm wearing music. It's a weapon. This is Fela Kuti, and you can see it. And this was designed by a young man from Burkina Faso who lives in New York, and his brand is called Fanga Africa. His name is Mathurin. He is the presenter at the Shrine. The bar.
Shrine.
The Shrine, yes. The guy who presents all the music at the Shrine, his name is Mathurin. That's his brand, and it's incredible. Many celebrities now around the continent are wearing his music. It's a weapon. So
Maybe you should tell us a little bit about the Shrine, then keep
going.
going.
The Shrine is an incredible live music venue in New York. It's on 7th Avenue, Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, between 133 and 134. So it's a good friend of mine from Burkina. I actually moved to the US with him. So he's like one of my closest friends. Since my childhood, Abdelkader. We grew up together. We moved to the US together. And then when I met my wife and I moved to Los Angeles and then started working at UCLA, he started the Shrine. And then it moved to all these great things that is happening. The Shrine is an incredible place for live music and to connect with Africa and to connect with live music. And they present music from all over the world, anything, hard rock, reggae, Afrobeat, whatever you need. So and anybody's welcome there, anybody. So today is actually, it's a special day for me because in October 15, 1987, President Thomas Sankara was assassinated in Burkina Faso in 1987. I'm saying that because it was the day I got closer to death. In 1987, I was 9, and then I was playing soccer in a military camp. And in my neighborhood in Ouagadougou, in the capital, the neighborhood is called Paspanga, which means more strength. And my primary school, you see my primary school, and behind the wall, it's a military camp, the National Guard. So which means all of the kids in my classroom in primary school were, kids from military families. And then I was just from the neighborhood, so a few of us got to go to that school. So we will jump the wall and go to the military camp and use their soccer field and play football. And that day around 5:30 p.m., they attacked the president, which was about less than 4 blocks away from that camp. The president family was right behind that wall. I'm saying that because the father of Thomas Sankara is a good friend of my father. And so I knew that family, so it was just right behind the wall. So they attacked him, they killed him. We didn't know the president was dead. And then there was shooting everywhere. So that was the first time I saw gunfires, the first time I witnessed that. And then my older brother was there and he told me, run, jump the wall, jump the wall. I said, what are you talking about? So I hear the gunshots, I see lights. For me, it was the most exciting thing. For me, it was like, whoa, yeah, guns. I didn't know. I was just young, and my brother was like, run, go home. So I jumped the wall. A little man jumped the wall, ran home, went, opened the door. My mother put me under the bed. My father came from his job, closed everything. With gunfights everywhere. And this was the first time in my life that I saw a military officer who went out of the shower. He ran out of the shower with soap in his head, with a towel, no t-shirt, no pants, nothing, just a towel, soap in his head, and an AK-47. So this man was ready and had time to get his AK-47 from his shower, but no time to wear pants and put his t-shirt. That was the urgency of the moment. And I was like a little boy looking at him, and I was like, and he was like running in front of me. And I was like, whoa, what is this? So I'm saying that because this influenced my work, Declassified Memory Fragment. People saw this piece at the Harlem stage in 2017. Thank you, Monique, for presenting it there in New York. And the tour, and this was a piece that toured the US in 2015 and 2017. And we premiered it at the Kelly Strahan Theater. Like, this place is like my home now, Pittsburgh, yeah. So, and thank you, Janera Salomon. I would never forget you. You're the best ever. So Janera premiered this, and then we went around the US with that twice with our, thank God, National Dance Project. So this piece was inspired by that moment with that military guy who walked out with, and me being shocked, and my memory was fragmented. And I started thinking about, and I was born in 1978, and I witnessed a coup in 1980. Yes, I was a baby, but I knew something was happening, because I remember how they put me under the bed again. I remember the coup in 1983, a year after. So then Thomas Sankara was invited to become president. And then I remember the coup in 1987 when he was assassinated. And then I witnessed something that happened in 2014, where the president who assassinated his best friend to become president for 27 years, manipulating and changing the constitution, talking about constitution and talking about presidency and talking about wanting to be president for a long time. You know where I'm going. So he did that, and we in Burkina, we went out and we said no. And the good thing is, artists changed the game. It was a rapper called Smokey. And then there was a reggae singer who actually lives in the US now, Sam Skaleja. There was a few theater artists. And then I had my friend, a choreographer who lives in Belgium, who works for Alain Platel and now is an amazing choreographer, Serge Aimé Koulibaly. And many people who put strength together to mobilize people out to say no to changing the constitution, because it was easy to pay the opposition. You just bring a big bag of money and then they're like, I'm done, I'll move. And, so the artists were like, yeah, you can corrupt them, but we can sing about it and move people out, mobilize them, and then for people to come out. So 1 million people walked out of the street, walked from the Revolutionary Square all the way to Parliament with their hands up saying, don't change my constitution. So they walked to Parliament, and then with nothing, we didn't have guns. We were 1 million people. You can find the photo online. Then there's a photo that shocked me, and I made these images in my piece with many people with their hands and changing and doing stuff, because you see like 6 military with big guns, and in the photo you can see them freaking out, scared, like trembling. 6, and you have 1 million people with their hands up walking. So our number is our strength. Even we didn't have any gun, our number was our strength. So which means people walked there, and then they freaked out, and then they backed up. And so the civilian went to the Parliament, and then all the parliamentary guys are running around, and then they didn't change the constitution. I'm not telling anybody to do that here. I'm just saying that this is my story, and I made a piece about it. And I made a piece about it called Declassified Memory Fragment, because for someone with my age to see all these coups, to see this revolution and all these things that happened in this tiny little life, my memory wasn't straight. It was fragmented. There was a lot of fragment. And then to paste it together and to come back and make a work as a choreographer, because I believe that I have a voice to make change, to make significant changes in my society. And as a choreographer, I'm a storyteller. So my stories can impact people. So sometimes I talk to my students in the US and say, you don't have my story, you can make a piece that is all about grand jeté. It can be beautiful and strong, and you don't have to talk about anything. It can be entertainment. Some presenters are tired of some of us always talking about politics and talking. I say, my case is different. We needed to dance to survive. I'm not talking about African poor men, no money. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this. It's more than just money. It's more than being African. It was about survival, like your ideas to survive, your beliefs to survive, and also about, regular survival. So understand when you see certain choreographers from the continent making work that's always really strong, maybe the strong side, it's not because we love strong or violence or something shaky. It is our reality. We are talking about our stories. So we also want to talk about, I don't know, having tea and eating lamb chops. I don't know. Sorry if you're vegetarian, but I'm just saying, So I'm saying that because people watching to understand more, you see contemporary dance from the continent, understand that we have to be storytellers. And I also know Africa is not about sadness and fights and AK-47s with people with soap in their head. That's not the actual story. This is the fragment. This is part of the fragments that I lived. And I'm talking about my case, and I'm talking about the Burkina case, because Africa is big, 54 independent countries. It's big, very diverse, right? So what I'm trying to say is, in that same piece, I try to remind people that Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina, is one of the coolest towns in the world. It's a town when you walk out of the airport, there's a bar right next to there's a bar we call Maki right next to the airport. People go there straight for their first beer right away. It's like, wow. And then they go in the city, someone would drop you at a hotel or in a house and they take you out right away. You go to an open air bar, live musicians. This guy just landed from performing in like Copenhagen or somewhere in Tokyo and then playing for you for like less than $1. It's not about money. They're like, I'm playing for everybody. And he was playing for I don't know who. You're like, what? That's my capital. People playing music, live music everywhere. People are happy. It's not about showing poverty in the face. No, that happiness it's not negotiable. So you see that bar life, Ouagadougou, and the drinks, the happiness. I take my students, my American students, where it's from UCLA or University of Iowa, OSU. I'm a nomad. I've been everywhere in the US. And now, thank God, at Princeton. the student, that's like, beside learning the dance or the music, that part of the cultural experience is everything. When they're coming to Africa, they all tell me like, oh, it's gonna be, a shock, and we get prepared. I say, I'll prepare you, but I'm preparing you for when you go back home, not when you come to Africa. Because when you go back home, that's when you get the cultural shock. They're like, seriously? I say, follow me, watch this space. Then we will land together, or sometime I'll fly before them, prepare everything. They land at the airport, they walk out, and then things will go. The day they leave for the US, is like, wow, people are crying. Wow. They get to the US and everyone is sending me emails. Can we meet? Can we cook? Can we do this? I was like, I told you, right? It's the other way around. The shock is when you come back. Sometimes I will fly to like Japan and I'll perform, and then I get there, and then I naturally follow people's energy. So I'll go to a country where, and then I'll just follow the energy, and then I fly back and everything is quiet, and I'm like very happy to like be, go back home, family, and I land at the airport. Everything is like, welcome back. What are you doing? American, go here, go here. I'm like, oh my God. So all of that helps me to make my work. That informs my work. That's why I made a piece called Not Because You're African. I created that solo in Morocco. I said the French Institute gave me money to create a solo to talk about them and almost to critique them. And I was like, thank you for the money. So I was called at the Institut Français in Rabat in Morocco to create, the commission said, create a piece. We give you a space, create a piece, perform it. They gave me the money. We were there, and Esther also created a solo with a grad student who was traveling with us. And she got this amazing grant from OSU, and we went in 5 countries around Africa doing research for her. And then I got this commission and I created my solo. And so the solo talks about my experience in France, because in the 90s, I was traveling between West Africa and Europe a lot. And so every month I'll be in a flight going between France or London or Italy or Germany or all these places, performing with my band, because I'm also a musician and I'm a band leader. And then dancing with a traditional dance company, which is important to me because I don't forget traditional dance and I'm not away from it. And people know me as a contemporary choreographer. So I don't shy away from my Africanity. I don't shy away from my dark skin. I don't shy away from my accent because it's my identity. I don't shy away from what I have to bring to my student in terms of cultural studies, because if you choose the African man to sit there and teach something that is related to Africa, then you're gonna have to be ready to also accept the cultural side of what you're learning. That's important to me. So any college that will call me, any university who took me, they also know that this is part of me, and then I bring it on the table. Whether I'm doing contemporary dance, whether I'm doing African dance, whether I'm doing traditional music, or whether I'm doing contemporary music or world music. It's just my identity is my skin, my accent, my way of being, and my energy. And I always try to keep it happy. I'm not faking it. It's just how I am. So I created the solo called Not Because You Are African, because everywhere I landed before becoming a US citizen, they're like, oh, sir, we stop you. It's not because you're African. You know that, right? I say, yeah, I know. In Brussels, every time I landed in Brussels in the 90s, they would put me in jail at the airport. There was a jail in Brussels. I knew that jail. I would land at the airport with my friend. I was like, guys, I'm going to jail today. They would be laughing. I say, yeah, it's funny, but let's see. They're like, hi, welcome to Brussels. Follow me. I said, I told you. Yes, they will put me in that place and they'll lock me up. And then they'll come and say, like, actually, we didn't find anything. You didn't do anything wrong. We just wanted to check your visa. I say, but your embassy gave me the visa. And then they'll make me lose, like, my flight will leave. And then I have to go at the airline. They scream at me. You negotiate. You put yourself very small to make sure that they let you go. It's unbelievable. If you travel like me, you see stuff. So, and then my Brussels story came to my piece, and I did it with humor. I laughed at it. I didn't cry about it. I didn't scream about it. I'm just tired of people thinking that being Black is about being angry, pissed off, and screaming. And no, we're happy people. We're normal people. It's red, black, everybody. So I just laugh at it, and I made work about it. And so, I landed in Tokyo not that long ago, and then they're like, "Oh, welcome to Tokyo. Do you have cocaine?" And I was like, "What do you mean, cocaine?" I said, "I've never seen cocaine with my eyes, only on TV, maybe like you." They're like, "Oh, no problem, no problem. Okay, okay, okay." And she's standing, she doesn't know what to do. And I'm standing, I'm waiting. She's like, "Do you have marijuana?" I say, "No, I don't have marijuana. What are you talking about?" I say, "You may be shocked, okay? I never touched any drug in my whole life. Never. Neither smoking, neither nothing." And it's not publicity. I'm serious. My wife would tell you, I don't touch anything. I don't even smoke cigarettes. I say, "You got the wrong guy." And they're like, "Okay, no marijuana. Any drug? I say, "What are you talking about?" So you see what I went through just because I look like me. Then they did that. So I didn't get pissed off. I made a piece about it. That's what I do. They do that to me everywhere. And they say, "No, sir, it's not because you're African." Now my piece is called "Not Because You're African." That's what I take to make work. And that's my story. And I want to own my story, and I make a work about it and do it my way, laugh at it, dance hard, and then, hopefully bring something into the head of the society.
I think you should tell them about your father.
Oh,
Just a little bit.
yes. My father, oh man, in my family, some of my uncles say that I am really the son of my father. And I wasn't sure because I came from a big family. My father was a primary school teacher in the 50s. Then at the same time, he was a musician. He was a very respected saxophone player. And then he founded a band, Super Volta, in 1966, with some of the biggest names in Burkina Faso now, which a lot of them are sadly gone, too old. So, and then in the 60s, my father's band was playing our post-independence fever, which means they were bringing all the good touch, very Cuban, very Afro-Cuban. There was like a connection with Cuba somehow. Also traditional repertories played with modern instrument, and also the connection to the African American, because my father got to go to the United States because later, this is funny, he was a school teacher, a saxophonist, and then he became a diplomat with our Secretary of State. So he traveled with him to the United Nations a few times. He was a very simple, humble man who didn't want to be in politics. All his friends became ambassadors. He had more diplomas than any of them, but then they never gave him the ambassadorship because he didn't want to play politics. So at the end of the day, he had a humble life and just left the world with not much. And his friends were like crazy, powerful, rich people, and he didn't care. He told me, "I don't care what you're going to have in life. I don't care about if you can make millions. I care about how much diplomas and how much education you could put on the table. That's how I'm proud of you." That's my father. This guy was an educator, like a tough educator. I don't want to go there. So, and he was a musician. So, and now seeing me as a musician, I grew up in a house where the band was there playing. And as a kid, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, I would go in the band room after rehearsal and I'll bang and everything. I'll break some stuff. I'll be punished. I was so punished in my life because I was happy. I wanted to do some cool stuff. So that's my story with my father. And weirdly now to see that I'm a big advocate of cultural diplomacy. And I also did cultural diplomacy to the State Department, going to South Africa with my wife, Esther, Botswana, to make contemporary dance work with local dancers. I went to Burkina twice as a cultural diplomat, and in Sri Lanka lately, I was sent there to perform and then make work as through the State Department and the embassy. So that's funny. I was like, wait a minute, my father was a diplomat. What am I doing? So
what are you doing? That's why I asked you that.
I don't think we are the same.
Yes, you are. Stop it. Let's bring Jasmine in, but yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's exactly why I asked you. Come on in, Jasmine. And guess who's here? So as you're coming in, Jasmine, I want to tell you who's here. Aaron Maddox is here.
No.
Peterson. Eva Yah is here. Dave Alois is here. Carol Dilly is here. Wendy Perrin, Zane Booker, Mariah Weathers is here. Renee
Love
Reddy,
you, Mariah.
Gallian Burkholder, Heather Robles, Trey Bien is here. Pierre Noel, I'm going to say this name wrong, so help me. Sangu Abigu Buga.
Oh, I give you Bugubali Sanu, mon
Bali,
bobo.
Sangu, yes. And of course, Esther is here. So cheers. Here comes Jasmine. Cheers, Jasmine. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Olivier.
Cheers,
We'll
y'all.
see you. Oh, wait. Don't go anywhere. I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you.
Ciao.
Have fun.
Oh, okay. Jasmine.
Hey, Olivier.
Hey, how you doing?
I am okay. I'm a little nervous. How are you doing? How is? Yeah, right.
Just be you and just let it fly. And we have our community here, so.
Yeah, you were talking about, you mentioned you being a nomad, identifying as a nomad, traveling throughout the states, throughout the world. Do you feel like it's a big part of like how you maybe stay balanced? I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I was wondering about that.
This is gonna make some people smile, and some people that know that I haven't been at the same spot like that for over 20 years. This is the first time I'm sitting 8 to 9 months and I'm not moving. And yes, I can tell you some people are very happy that I'm around. But, it's like I'm going so much every year. Every year I try to do 4 to 5 continents a year, every year. So it's something that is part of my identity, because since I was a child, I was also a Boy Scout. Somebody mentioned like, oh, Boy Scout. Boy Scout in Africa is not Boy Scout in America. Trust me.
Tell me about it. How's it different?
Boy Scout in Burkina is like soldiers. They do crazy things to us. Like we'll walk like 30 miles or something and go to a village. Then we will make a tent, and then the chief will come and make us do a fire. You have a week, you have to like watch the fire, even if it's raining. If the fire is out, you guys will be like punished for like, I can't explain what kind of punishment. So it's like 24/7 of like, the fire. And then sometimes they'll wake you up at 3 a.m. and you see a line of people. Like you woke up, I'm like a kid. And then they put their hands, you have to walk under them, and they sing, La belle époque est terminée, ce soir tu vas mourir. The good times are gone, tonight you're gonna die. That's how they sing for you at 3 a.m. And then you're like, what? They're like, La belle époque est terminée, cette époque est finie. You're like, oh, la belle époque est terminée, ce soir tu vas mourir. And then they send you in to like, a mission, and you walk like 10 miles with some friends to go. They say you're going to have go to the police station at this village. They're going to have a message for you. You go there, and the police guys, they knew about you coming. Then they punish you for coming there at 4 a.m. They make you do push-ups, sing and dance, run around a tree. No, it's crazy. And then they're like, okay, now you can get your message. You read the message, they send you to another station. You go there, they punish you, make you do all kinds of crazy stuff. And then you like sweating, you pissed off. And then you see the message like, oh, go to this person and go buy 2 baguettes for the chief to have breakfast. Yes. Then I go at 5 a.m. to wake the guy up to buy the baguette. He comes out with a machete, thinking that is somebody coming to steal. No, it's crazy. You're like, oh, they're like, we're all freaking out. Sorry, I'm just buying bread. And then buy the bread, walk miles and miles, and go back there for the chief to have coffee with a baguette. That's Boy Scouts in Burkina Faso.
I was a Girl Scout. All we did was sell cookies. And,
I wish. It was ridiculous. But it trained me, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason I asked that is because similarly, but not at all the same, I travel all the time, especially in the country. I've had some opportunities and experiences being elsewhere. But I really do, I appreciate being able to move, to
Yes.
like enter into somebody else's home or someone else's culture. And I remember you saying following the energy that's already there and sensing it. And so I really hear you with that in ways of, I realize I do it because it helps me learn more and have a better capacity to just learn
Yeah.
all kinds of people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hear you. And then at the same time, not at all do I like understand.
No, it's beautiful. I mean, like, I'm a very lucky artist, a very lucky man, a very lucky African man who gets to go to all these incredible places, get invited over and over to some unbelievable places like going to Bali, the Bali Spirit Festival, which is one of the biggest yoga festival, to be faculty there to teach dance and have like hundreds of people taking your class screaming, then to go on the main stage with your band and perform for 8,000 people screaming. So you get that, and then you get to experience the Balinese culture, to collaborate with gamelan ensembles, with African music, which is a big deal, which changes my life. And it's like the most technically complex music I've never played. To do that, and then to go to India, and then to go to so many small towns in India and see how close India is to like Nigeria or to many places in Africa. You know, how the culture, and I've seen some of the darkest people in India, and I'm a dark black man, and I go and I was like, wow. So which means it made me feel even good that, you know, I can find other people that looks like me, even though we're so different culturally, you know, and to see the, you know, the percussion side, we have mouth percussion in West Africa. Like, so you get that, you know, with the African mouth percussion. It's fantastic. So I got to be richer going to these places and meeting these amazing people that have different, and then they start having a different approach to Africa. They start understanding my blackness, my Africanity, you know, because of Asia and Africa being far, all the stereotypes. So I got to help break some of the stereotypes as an artist.
Speaking of meeting new people, I remember meeting you in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Like a young 20, I don't know, something year old, like dancer, choreographer, just so brand new. And being able to see your work at the Kelly Horn Theater, brought in by Janera Solomon, with Joseph Hall as, you know, her right side. And so I'm just really just remembering meeting you, meeting Esther, and seeing the work that you did was really, yeah. So how did you feel? Do you remember being in Pittsburgh?
Oh, I'm in Pittsburgh all the time.
I know. You're like, actually.
I think most of my latest, I think, how many, since 2011, I premiere all my works. You know, the Kelly Strayon Theater premiered all my works since 2011.
Okay.
So Pittsburgh became home. I'm there all the time, you know, doing work. So I think I have an audience there and people that got used to my work. And I see some of the same people who will come to the work, go out and like, you know, share some, you know, tears with people, hugs, that I keep seeing them coming back to all my performances. And it's a privilege as an artist. So yes, I love Pittsburgh.
2011. Yep. Because I mean, it's so interesting because that was the year I started being more in the local dance scene, graduating from Point Park University, and starting to build a relationship with Kelly Horn Theater myself. And I remember us being on like that New Moves program. And I remember Marjani Forte Saunders there, with some other folks. Yeah, it was such a special time.
Yeah, and Kyle was there. Kyle Abraham. He didn't perform, but he was there for a talk, and then we hanged out later. Kyle was there. Many people were there.
Yep. I even think we all went out to eat afterwards at that spot. Okay, yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's this is such a good opportunity for you and I to reconnect And why not build a relationship from now on? And that's the beauty of this community. And my mentor was there last week, David Rousseff. So this was like the best thing that David was there, and then now I'm here with you, and it's just like so wonderful. I'm so happy that this is happening.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Black dance stories, and also the ways that we end up just learning and connecting and also following people. I remember I had a chance to watch the episode with Bibi Miller and Kyle Abraham, and just being like, just witnessing and being like, oh, I definitely learned from y'all from afar, as well as everyone else who's been on this program. So it's been a wild ride to just see it unfold.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's incredible. I've been watching so many of them. It's like I saw the Oakwood one was amazing, and so many of them learning about people, seeing their stories, and the story is so far behind dance. Dance is just a tiny part of that story. There's so much to share that also inform how we make our dances. So and that's why I say I'm a storyteller. As many choreographer, like I said, I tell my American students that you don't have to be a storyteller, but I can teach you how to be a storyteller if you want to do it, based on how I approach dance making. I did it because of my story needed to come out, and I needed to create change. I needed to create some sort of survival, and I keep insisting it's not about being a Black man and an African man. Oh, we're sad, we are always killing, we're not good. No. That's so much stories for people to understand where we are from and the beauty and the complexity of this continent. It's bigger than what people know. It's bigger and better than what you see on CNN and Fox News. Africa is incredible.
Yeah. Telling our own stories in ways of bringing out the details, because I hear you so deeply. And also when you were talking about making a piece to put together your fragmented memory.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Just the statement of that, so powerful.
Thank you. Thank you.
See how nice it is to be with your family from far away.
Right?
Yes.
Cheers, Olivier. Cheers, Jasmine.
Cheers, Mama.
Okay, now, Olivier, I was trying to send you away too soon. Shame on me.
Uh-oh.
All right. See you in a little bit. See you in just a little bit.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao. Jasmine Hearn.
Hi, Mama Charmaine. How are you?
Welcome, beautiful. I'm so excited to have you share. And thanks to you and Olivier for giving a big up to daggone Black Dance Stories.
Yeah, such an important program.
Alexandra, I'm going to say it wrong. Sutton is here. Winifred Sully is here.
Yeah, yes, Sutton.
Joseph Hall is here.
Hey, Joseph.
And just so you know, you have fans out there who said, nervous, what? They got you.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself and.
Of course, thank you. Hey, y'all. My name is Jasmine Hearn, Jasmine Lynn Hearn. I'm currently in Houston, Texas, which was once Mexico, and also land of the Karankawa people. I am a dark brown skinned Black queer person. I am a femme. I'm non-binary, queer dear. I'm a lyricist. I'm a dancer. I'm a mover. I'm an artist. I'm a lover. I'm all brand new. And I'm also ancient. I'm an everyday student. I'm a teaching artist. I'm wearing a Black garment. I've got circle jewelry. I've got a tattoo of a heart that my Aunt Sonia and I share. I'm surrounded by pictures, paintings, sketches, photos that have surrounded me since I was born. I'm in the room that I was raised in, a room that my sister and I shared. I am the daughter of Donald Hearn and Byronay Janice Johnson Hearn. I'm a sister to Jenna Lauren Hearn. I am the granddaughter to Claudette Nickens Johnson and Byron Johnson. My grandmother's mother, Minnie Houston Nickens Woodall Thigpen. She was a seamstress. She made dresses. And my grandfather, my pop-pop, his parents, John Johnson and Orange May Granger Johnson Crushaw. My father, Dr. Donald Hearn, his parents, Ernestine Todd and Charles Hearn. These are the folks that I come from. Most of my family is in Texas and Louisiana, as well as California, LA, Culver City. I was raised by my mother. I was raised by my grandmother. I was raised by my sister, Jenna. I was raised by my Aunt Sonia, my Uncle Rodney, my Aunt Rita, Mrs. Crusoe and Mr. Crusoe, Miss Cox, Aunt Bola, Aunt Deborah, my other Aunt Deborah, my Uncle Johnny, some really amazing babysitters, as well as folks who circled me in the church that I went to, St. Monica's Catholic Church, right up the street, as well as dance family, chosen dance, people that really cared for me and my awkward, sweet self. And then also all these sisters that came through my life as a young one. I am forever grateful for all the hands that have made me, for all of the lessons that have made me. Speaking of lessons, honestly, I realized that most of the ways that I understand dance, I've learned, and none of it's mine, but because it gets to intersect in my body, I'm realizing that it makes it special, and being able to be with all kinds of folks and learn how they are with dance, and not just dance, but any art form, discipline, language, dialect. I'm so grateful to be in the room. Before I had a chance to fully be myself, be my sweet, queer, non-binary, they, them, she, her self, I found a lot of soothing energy by dancing in this room right here. I remember I started dance, or I fell into dance, literally by falling. Literally by always being like the person who like falls down the stairs, or just like fall. Like my mother would be like, watch where you're going and slow down. And I thought I was, but I was always like in a whole nother world, in a whole nother realm, on a whole nother frequency, and my feet always just, and so falling was a way that I was put into classes, all kinds of classes, following the steps of my sister dancing, rehearsing with the folks in her community, learning from them on the side, really always told that I didn't have rhythm, which I'm like, all right, y'all. And also like in having that, and also understanding that rhythm comes and it goes, and there's so many rhythms in one moment to listen to. I realized I was just listening to something else. But I was always the person like kind of slow, falling to the side. And with all of that frustration and with all of that ways of being an observer, that was another way of learning for me. And so I would come into this room, into this space that I felt as safe as I could, and I would just dance. I would move so hard. I would I would get it. Play all kinds of music, sing all kinds of songs. The kitchen is right underneath this room, and my mom's like, "What are you doing up there? Who are you talking to?" And I was just like in this whole other world. And I realized that it was when I felt most powerful as a Black femme, a Black woman, a young Black girl, raised Catholic, put in mostly educational spaces. Educational spaces were predominantly white folks. And so navigating, and then also in other kinds of social settings that were predominantly with Black folks, like church, Jack and Jill of America, St. Peter Claver, the Junior Daughters and Junior Knights, Court Number 151. Yes. So all these different ways of existing and being in relationship with people, and realizing that by moving, by writing, by humming, that's when I felt good. That's when I felt like I could express myself the most, not the most, but express myself. And continuing on in my life, I went to Point Park University. I spent 3 years there, and I graduated with a BA in dance, concentration in jazz. That time was really intense. If you caught me 6 months ago, and then like in 2011, and then 6 months ago, I would say that I hated it. Because I did at the time, being treated in a very specific manner, having to navigate so many ways of shaping and reshaping my body, and being with such strictness. I understand that I learned so much from that program, and I also learned how to reshape energy as I've been able to listen to and read all over and over again the words of Octavia Butler, specifically in Parable of the Sower with Earthseed, and this notion of reshaping energy for the energy then to be abundant around you, for the potential of that energy to be available so that I could do something else. And so even though I was upset, and even though I was like, yeah, I would go up the street and get this like gelato right before this one class that I could not stand. And I would just eat ice cream before every class because I was so sad. And then with that, like listening to that and then shifting that energy and producing an improvisational gathering that happened once a month called Citrus Series. And it would be a way to continue to be in the practice of moving, of letting my body be flooded by movement and story. And later I learned with language from Marjani Forte, Marley Skirby, and also just taking the time to sit down and be with ancestry, spirit. I was realizing I was being filled with spirit and sharing that experience with others at that time. I then went to American Dance Festival one summer. I met some really amazing people and especially teachers. Specifically at that moment, Pamela Pietro, who I was so sad about the way that I was being told that I couldn't dance. And one day she was just like, "Oh my gosh, you can dance." And other people, no, at that time, other than my mother, who was like, "Girl, you dancing, get your life." I didn't really hear that. And so it was very interesting to be with a teacher and then for that to happen, and to come back to Point Park with confidence in ways that it didn't matter. And I got to graduate early because I decided to go to an audition for Dance Alloy Theater, a 35-year-old modern dance company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is no longer. My first season was their last season, and I was able to be in this company. I went to the audition, I got the job. I entered the audition as if it was a free class, just decided to go. And I got offered the job, so I got to graduate a year early. And then from there, I was able to then from there, I was able to dance and learn how to dance and remember how to dance in all kinds of ways. After the company after the company folded, I decided to stay in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because I didn't really want to live in New York. It just seemed too fast. It seemed like I'd get lost, which I do, and and it is. And I stayed in Pittsburgh for an additional 5 years. And during that time, I applied for my first grant. I thought of it as an essay prompt in English class, and I just tried. I also had a lot of support from Stacy Pearl, who I ended up dancing with as a project-to-project based dancer for 3 years. And I ended up working with all kinds of folks in Pittsburgh and meeting some really amazing people, and really being able to like come out in a very in a very peaceful, not even peaceful, but I was able to just find my pleasure a little bit more each day there. I got to be with queer community. I got a chance to go to some of my first protests, sleeping at the mayor's office overnight with like all these beautiful Black women, beautiful Black queer people, beautiful queer folks, and we were just like, nah, we're here. It was the week that Trayvon Martin was murdered, and we were there, and being there and having that energy and being with that energy and continuing that work with New Moves Pittsburgh was so important at that time that I ended up applying for a grant so that I could make a solo series, that I ended up making these dances and these different places in the neighborhood that I would go to a lot as someone who was going to buy a book from the independent bookstore. I asked them if I could perform there. New Voices Pittsburgh had this bomb ass office that they used to have these like rent parties, and I was like, this is nice. It was where I got to be with a lot of Black queer people, Black femme people, Black lesbians, and it was just like, I was so happy. And being in that office space, I was like, can I do a performance here? And then doing another performance on the basketball court in the park that was right across the street from where I lived. So really dance already lived there. I just got a chance to be a part of it, and then be a part of it in the way that I felt that I wanted to be a part of it, and got a chance to connect with so many folks in that manner. And so while I was in Pittsburgh, I also auditioned to be in other work in Philadelphia and in New York. And I got these jobs through connecting, taking folks' classes, going to workshops. I met Marjani Forte Saunders at Kelly Strohorn Theater at New Moves, the New Moves Festival. We had the same backpack on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I like your backpack. And then we again like met each other at American Dance Festival, when I just allowed myself to be very honest and say that, you know, her work truly touched me. And from that moment, you know, she was like, I would love to continue being in conversation with you. And so I got a chance to then work with Marjani, an experience that I will never forget, and I hope will continue this lifetime and the next. And so just being with her and building sistership with her, and really experiencing shifting relationship with her at that time, as well as with teachers that I learned from in Houston, in Pittsburgh, in Philadelphia, and just being in a really generous exchange, I would say. And so when I was working with Marjani, she was like in New York and I was in Pittsburgh, but I wanted people to think I lived in New York. So I would take these mega buses, you know, the mega bus, and I would take the overnight mega bus, which was 8 to 9 hours long, sometimes 10. And I would take these buses for, I I would say almost 2 years. And sometimes I would take them 4 times a week. So that means that there was one time I was doing this gig in New York because someone thought I lived in New York, and I was like, yes, I did it. I made people think I lived in New York. It was an outside gig. I had to wear shoes all the time, and I wore my shoes on the bus. So for 4 days straight, I didn't take off my sneakers. You would think maybe I had another pair of shoes, but I was like, pack light, Erica Badu. Yeah. So I was all about that, like one backpack and a snack bag kind of situation. But yeah, that was a bit like the bus kind of ended up being a home for a moment. And then I decided to move to New York and allow myself to really let things be fast and let myself get lost. And then I got to meet so many different people or deepen relationships with so many different folks. But I always sensed that traveling was, and in New York, you travel anyway when you're on that subway for 2 hours to get from Bronx to Brooklyn, or all these different situations where being on the move. I always appreciated being able to move and be with all kinds of folks and be in all kinds of rooms and learn some more. Yeah. And the ways of learning and the ways of, and I've been pretty linear, which I'm really proud of myself. But at the same time, linearity, being with cycles and circles is what I actually love. And I'm proud of that as well. And so speaking of movement, the relationships that I get to be in, I definitely appreciate and crave movement in those relationships. So I was speaking of shifting relationships. And as I began to make more work, as I began to be in all kinds of folks' work, applying, auditioning, just doing it, just making it a practice to kind of put myself out there and be vulnerable. From sending a video to Alessandra Soutine and being like, yeah, I'd love to dance in London. That'd be really nice. These are the things I have to offer. And for her to be so grounded and rooted in all of her wisdom and also energy. And she was like, I can feel your energy from here. Please come to, I can even go to like recently, maybe a year and almost 2 years ago, when I auditioned for Kyle Abraham for the 3rd time, and I auditioned for Bill T. Jones, and I was like close, but nah, didn't happen. And walking into the audition for Urban Bushwomen, walking into that audition like it was a free class, I was like, here we go, because I don't know. I will never know. And being there and then being offered a job with a company that already I've learned so much from, with my relationships with Maria Bauman Morales and Marjani, and just being in this moment of lineage. And I also will say Marlise Yerby, because I had a chance to be in vocal training with her. And it's just wild. And that's where I am now, as well as making work with other people, making solos with spirit, ancestry, history, herstory, their story, and also making work with others. Making work with 10 other people and having that responsibility of not only choreographer, but director, but fundraiser and secretary. And, I'm going to get the snacks, because I feel like we always need snacks in rehearsal. That's a part of the care. We're moving our bodies that much, you might as well get snacks. So all of these different ways of being, and then also currently, I'm in this project called A Patient Practice that I started when I was probably 25, working with John Strunks, who is a dear dance teacher who gave me my first Audre Lorde book, who introduced me to the uses of the erotic. That essay deeply changed how I thought of my body and myself. And being in relationship with John then as a teacher, 16 years old, little me, I can show you a picture of me at 16. It's wild. this picture of me amongst all these swirling bodies with hair. And being there, being there with all of that, and having him as my teacher, and then years come by, a couple years go by, and then we're ending up making this collaborative duet where I'm setting a solo on him, and then I do my other solo about being catcalled on the street, and doing all of this. All of these movements and all these ways of being in my body that I got to learn, that I got to also unfurl from my own sense of pleasure. And just being in that kind of shifting relationship filled me up so much, and allowed me to continue being in conversation with my teachers. And so respecting that and wanting to build on that, making a work with my grandmother, memory keeper, Claudette Nickens Johnson, the piece Memory Keeper, and her sharing these stories with me because she's beginning to lose her memory, and just being with this idea of keeping memory, and being really intentional about that keeping. And I've been able to be in some language and conversation with Joe Stewart recently, because we were together last week, about what does it mean to keep memory, and with Joe, what it means to invent memory, and being also with the keeping, a sense of preserving memory, a sense of I immediately go to food because that's something I'm always surrounded by, with recipes, and my mother making pralines every day, and my grandfather Pop having a barbecue restaurant, and my grandmother making potato salad, and the times I had been coming home when I was living in New York and Pittsburgh, holidays, where I was making the vegetables, because folks wanted to just put all kinds of pork in the vegetables, which is fine. But I was like, we could have some other vegetables. But ways of going back to food, preservation, to be with keeping of memory. And being with that language and finding that language, or having the language find me, us, my grandmother and me at that time. And just seeing how it kind of unfolds, how what I get to I want to say recycle, but how I get to re-immerse myself with the ways that I was working in a past self. So I get to constantly be in these conversations with myself, with younger versions of myself, I believe also older versions of myself, and being in conversation with me, and then also being in conversation with so many others, and the stories that they get to hold. And I don't take it lightly. I spend most of my time there, most of my relationships there, in this world of dance that I also understand. I connect with dance and my body, also with my voice and singing, and how I connect with words, how I used to write lyrics and poems in the bathtub when I was 8, and how that still comes through now as I make soundscapes for the pieces that I do, original compositions for other folks. How I made an album with this really cool duet called Slow Danger, and continuing to be in vocal work and sound conjuring. And it really just baffles me what has happened, who I've gotten to dance with, being able to be in France, being able to be in Greece, being able to be in being able to be in LA, and going back and being staying in an apartment in Culver City where my dad kind of grew up, because I got to be there because of dance, and allowing for that kind of movement to usher me throughout the world.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I'm grateful. And I have no expectations, just goals and dreams, and seeing how they unfurl.
Oh my gosh. That was a lot. Come on back in, Olivier. Olivier said, what did you say? Happiness is non-negotiable. And it sounds exactly what you're saying. No expectations,
Yeah.
just being.
Yep.
Oh, all right. So this is where I talk amongst you. Wait, cheers. Thank you. Cheers, 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 cheers,
Okay.
cheers, cheers. Mm. So there's some more people here. Let me just give some shout outs to the more people that have joined. I think this is your mama, by
Mhm.
Roni,
Bye, Renee.
by Renee. I knew I was gonna. Is that mama?
Yes, my mama.
Oh,
Hi, mama. We met, mama. I met you. Christine Wyatt, Jamal Barnes, and Laura Marchese, Montclair in the house. So talk amongst yourself. This is where I try to find questions from the chat, but generally there aren't because folks in the chat are just having a good old time. But talk amongst yourself as I search through for either questions or statements. Usually some big ups to all of y'all.
It's so interesting because I just got a text from my mom saying David Rusev is from Houston, and his family was in Jack and Jill with us. So the world is small.
oh.
Oh my God. See?
I know, right?
What is happening with the David connection? Hold on, Charmaine.
Yeah?
We didn't tell people how we met. You and I we met through David Rusev in 2007.
Oh,
Yes, in 2007, I met you for the first time because David said, "This is Charmaine. She danced for my company when I was on tour with David Rusev." And then that's how we met. And then we met many times later. And then we were at Montclair also. And then you came to the Montclair show also. And then so we got to build up that relationship, all of that David Rusev connection. It's just crazy. It's funny. It's fantastic.
it's crazy.
That
Well,
you and I have.
Jasmine, how did we
David.
meet?
How did
Say again?
Jasmine, you were just saying, Olivier, how we met, I think.
Did we meet at Skeleton Architecture?
Must have been.
Backstage.
Evaya, Asantewa.
Yeah, backstage, 21 of us. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people.
Our community is so fabulous.
Yeah.
So Alexandra Sutton,
Yeah.
Soutine, London, coming in from London. What? Renee Redding Jones, of course. Renee just joined us. And Renee's part of the original reality, I'm just saying.
No kidding.
Yeah. And Renee's now part of the BDS community and family. And Esther says, greetings. Esther's just checking in from where she is, of course. And she talked about the shrine. Hey, Jasmine, have you been to the shrine?
I haven't.
What? Oh, Adam Clayton Powell, you got to go.
All right, I'm writing it down right now.
Writing it down.
Yeah.
And Mariah just bigged up the fragment, declassified memory fragment. Mariah.
Yes, it's Mariah. She has so much to do with that piece. She represented the piece. She helped with the NDP. She did so much. Mariah, if you're watching, thank you for everything. Mariah is incredible. And shout out to Joseph Hall also. Joseph is an incredible human being. KST is in good hands. Love you, Joseph. Kill it.
Love you, Joseph.
Joseph is all over the chat about you all.
Oh.
Pierre Noel says, toujours si intense et impliqué, Taparga.
Quebec. He was a presenter in Canada and he brought me from Burkina in the 90s to Canada for music. Oh, merci, Pierre.
And they Evaya. Oh, love that Evaya.
Oh, me too.
Evaya. So Evaya is responsible for bringing Skeleton Architecture together, and Mariah is a part of Skeleton. Yeah. Oh, Ava says, I hear that about the culture shock when Americans get back home. No kidding. We can all talk about that. Now, so pause, both of you, grandma in the piece, papa in the piece, or pop, not in the piece, but your grandma's in your piece, and Olivier's pop's music is in his piece.
Yeah.
Wait, are we gonna bring these together?
Ah, you never know.
Never know.
You never know. Something is cooking.
Something is cooking. And Sanu says, yes, your identity made you different. Different people, different color, made a beautiful and colorful world. And Asia, Asia Matthews.
That's
shout
my
out to
student.
Olivier. Oh, that's so
Yay.
baguettes versus thin mints.
Caramel delights.
Right? Oh, wow. And Wendy says, I love to know about that painting behind you, Jasmine.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I did ask my mother, who is the artist? Now, I have seen this painting almost every day of my life. I can't read the artist's signature, and my mother currently right now does not know. As I find out more, and if anybody's watching this knows, please write it in the chat. And also, I'd love to know as well. So that's more information about that specifically. I'm sorry, I can't help you out more right now.
I know, right? Sorry, Wendy, but it's gorgeous. And I have to say that Missy, I forgot that Missy Robinson is here. Missy.
Speaking of painting and illustration and dance, just saying that.
Wow, I didn't even mean to make that transition, but speaking of painting and illustration, but bomb diggity dancer.
Yeah, right.
But Missy says to you, Olivier, thank you for your spirit history and stories.
Oh, thank you.
Wait. I'm still scrolling. Hello, sweetheart Jasmine from Alexandra Soutine. And Ava says you have similar backgrounds. Dancing intensely in our rooms and growing up in Catholic church. That's kind of deep that you're in your room.
Yeah.
Right, Olivier?
Yep.
I'm like, I mean, part of me is like telling my younger self right now, I'm like, it's going to be okay. You're going to continue to dance and you're going to like keep making songs. You'll be fine. So you can cry, but also you could stop crying.
Because you're there and it's a flood. Is it a flood of memory?
I mean, always to be in this room. And then also it's very different, and I'm a different person. But I'm listening. I'm listening to past.
Being filled with spirit, right?
Yeah.
Travian says, yes, Jasmine, in relation to navigation, reshape energy, filled with spirit. And the megabus. Olivia, you never took the megabus?
Oh, I'm always in megabus coming to New York. I don't drive anymore. The toll is too expensive. I just take megabus.
But Jasmine, 2 years, sometimes 4 times a week.
Yeah. My sacrum was so sad.
Could you imagine yourself doing that now?
I mean, I recently did it, not during this moment of great upheaval, but right before. I took the megabus from Pittsburgh to New York, and I was like, I can't believe I did this all the time.
Yeah, see? We grow up, we get older, or whatever that is.
We shift, yeah.
We shift. Both of you respond to the world around you as you're making work, right? As you said. What's it like right now? Trying to make work in the present time.
Well, I'm making work right now for my students for the Princeton Dance Festival. They're with a lot of beautiful people. Rebecca Lazier, Dean Moss is there. So we're making, all of us, 5 of us, making work for the festival. And this is a very good question because, my case is different because I get to go to the Lewis Center for the Art and I get to be in a big theater that moved everything. And I have 2 live musicians very far from me.
So you're in person?
I go, no. My students are not there, but I get to have this experience in the theater where I get a big screen and I can see my students really big, the dancers, and then I have a station with my computer and everything. So and the musicians are, I get the live feed into my. So the dancers are also feeling that the energy of the space. They miss it. A lot of them are first year students and they need to, and so it's something that it feels good to leave Philly and then see people even as far away, and it's a lot of authorization. It's a long process, but it's amazing to go there and be in a space, actual space with amazing live musician, far from me, of course, and all with mask and everything. But so it's a different experience making the piece because I love duets. And in my work, you always have like very significant duets that I couldn't make because for me the human touch is everything. And so how do you make duets now? And then I look at the screen and how do you, so it's like it changed. I needed to reinvent myself. I needed to change my approach. And I needed to be like, there's no excuse to cry right now. We have to find a way to make work because this is now, this is today, and I'm making it and it's working. But it's like it's a funky thing for me. I need to accept it. They look good, they're strong dancers. I'm crossing my fingers, but there's no excuse.
It's just different.
Now, we make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Jasmine?
I hear that. And also, I feel as though a lot of the ways that I was making dance previously really prepared me for this moment. I was able to collaborate with a lot of different filmmakers and videographers. And I see how it's translating and taught me how to be with video footage, film, pictures, and colors in a way that editing, it feels really fun. I would also say that like maybe 2 years before this moment, I was trying to be in so many different places at once that I would be doing online rehearsals where I was already in a practice of, being with collaborators and just asking them to move their body in the space that they already have.
Yeah.
So now it seems as though it's a way that, I lean on it a little bit more. And also and also it's just a way for me to it was a way for me to slow down and to organize and to be with the abundance that surrounds me, whether it be like reaching back in my quite chaotic archive and just like piecing things together to make something else. And then also ways to continue and deepen relationships with folks through conversation, through writing, and ways of just connecting and connecting from far distances and trusting the energy. And it's been really beautiful, and I've been really grateful.
Yeah, both of you staying in one place. Not so much you, Jasmine, right now, but as you said, Olivier, just being in this one place. Well, Kimani and Nick are going to come back in half a second because believe it or not, it's 27 minutes past. I told you it was going to be fast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Charmaine, something I wanted to say is Jasmine looked very much like someone I know and appreciate a lot. She probably knows her name. She's a good friend of mine, Dada Misilo from South Africa.
Yeah.
You look like Dada. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
It's incredible. And
she does look like Dada.
Yes.
And I think you probably move a little bit like Dada too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, did we miss anything? Any goodbyes that we're supposed to say? Shout outs that you want to give?
Vote.
What'd you wait? Both of you spoke at the same time.
Go ahead, Jasmine.
Well, I just said vote, and also just extreme gratitude to Black Dance Stories, everyone who makes this moment and this platform, and also just all of the teachers, all the lessons I've gotten a chance to be with, and to be able to share it right here and right now with whomever it is that is listening. I'm very grateful. So thank you.
Oh, yay.
I would say vote, 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 vote. I cannot wait. It's happening. Yeah. No, vote, 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 vote. Don't think about who you're voting for. Think about what you want after the vote. So, because sometimes we say like, this guy's too old. No. Don't think about him because think about what is there for you. So go ahead and vote. you know, and we can change things, you know, and it's such a privilege to be able to vote.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
It's a privilege to be able to vote. All right, y'all, let's go
Yeah.
out and get, Kimani, were you going to say something?
I was going to say thank you both for reminding everyone again, like we can't say it enough. And I know you're ready to let us know who's coming up, right, Charmaine?
Oh, thank you, Kimani. Thank you. So next week is Suleiman Badolo,
Hey.
Yeah.
Francesca Harper, or solo, and Francesca Harper next week.
What?
For real though,
I
come
know.
on back. Black Dance Stories kicks lots of butt.
Yes.
Right, Nick?
Absolutely.
Hey.
Tay. Cheers to you all, Olivier and Jasmine.
Cheers to y'all.
Thanks for being part of our team. Welcome, Renee, for being part of our team. See you all next week.
Yes.
Cheers, and go get into some good trouble.